Hello people, my name is Ben, and this week I am playing NieR, a underrated game, or underappreciated, maybe for some good reasons. We'll get into that in a minute, but this was recommended to me by my other friend, also called Ben, you guys probably know him, and Louis from chat as well, and also Bloodmon, I think, as well. Quite a few people basically in chat were like, yeah, it's really good, great story. The story was the main thing that they focused on, saying that it was a fantastic story and that I should really play it. So I'm borrowing it from Ben, and it's okay. It's pretty good. I just wasn't all that interested in it around like the release or anything. It didn't get great reviews, got very mixed ones. Some people rated it pretty highly, but for the most part it was like 6s and 7s, which obviously that's not negative, that's not bad at all. That's saying it's a good game, just not great, so it wasn't really on my radar at all. But after playing it for, I think it must have been about 10 hours now, apparently it's an 18-hour game or so, so I'm at least up to halfway. It's pretty good. It's definitely not flawless. It's got a lot of flaws, but the story is pretty great. It takes a while to get going. The voice acting, some of it's really good, and then other parts just aren't. But for the most part, it holds up pretty well. The voice acting for Grimoire Weiss is particularly good. Kaine is also, she's got a pretty great voice actress. I believe she's also done a lot of dubbing for anime as well. So she's had quite a lot of experience with voice acting, as you would hope from voice actors. But it's okay. Where it falls down is in the gameplay department for the most part. Some pacing issues, and also like just kind of the graphics. Yeah, as you can see, they don't look amazing. This is zoomed out, so it looks a bit better, I guess. This is one of the weird things about the game. You're usually not playing it like this, by the way. This is a very strange place. They decided in this part to go for an isometric view, which isn't in the game all that much at all. I believe this might be the actual first time in the game that they use it, and this is like 10 hours in. It doesn't change up the gameplay a whole lot, it's just a stylistic choice, which tends to happen throughout. Like when you go into some small rooms and houses, it goes for this kind of 2D aspect, so you can like, it kind of like cuts through the wall and you can see the walls themselves, and it's pretty nice. I quite like the style of it, and it's a bit more unique than I guess the rest of the game. Like this doesn't change up the gameplay a whole lot, but I guess it kind of keeps it a little bit interesting, but it can't hide the fact that you, in this section especially, you are just fighting the same two types of enemies over and over and over, and that's why you probably see me using a lot of the same moves over and over and over. And even if they weren't the same types of enemies, I tend to use just the same moves, because there's not a huge list of movesets. There are quite a few weapons. Depending on the weapon type, it tends to have a different moveset, but the combat isn't too in-depth. You also have some magical abilities, which basically by the time you get the punch one, that's like the most OP shit ever. Like you can take some mini bosses / bosses down in like 5 hits. It's kind of insane. So that doesn't seem to be balanced too well, but honestly I don't really mind, because it means I can get past the combat sections quick and get to the stuff that I really care about, which is the story. The story is very interesting. I think it might have time travel stuff in it at some point, but you've got these shades that are kind of taking over the land. Your daughter, you actually play as a father, which is, I think, that's actually a pretty cool choice. Although in the Japanese PS3 version, not the Japanese 360 version, just the Japanese specific PS3 version, you play as this little girl's brother rather than her father. I don't know why. That seems like a waste of assets. If you're just going to do it for that one version in that one territory, it's very, very confusing. I think they just should have stuck with the father for everything else, including that, because he's pretty cool. He's kind of over the top quite a bit at some points, and his voice acting can be pretty funny, but it could also be pretty good. It's kind of hit and miss as to whether like the quality of it is all that good. It wasn't all that good at the start. It's improved over time. So the game has a lot of interesting ideas, but it doesn't necessarily pull them off all that well. The story is pulled off pretty well. The music is pulled off very well. The music's fantastic. It uses lyrics in a lot of the tracks, which works for the most part. At least when other characters aren't talking. When other characters are talking, I would, for the most part, I would prefer that, you know, songs with lyrics stay out, because I want to hear the characters talking, especially since the lyrics themselves aren't actually anything. They're made to sound like languages, different languages like Japanese and English and such, but they aren't actually saying anything. It's a really weird decision, but I don't hate it. I do really like the soundtrack. I think it's very well done. It's probably, in terms of the presentation, probably the best part of the presentation. Not like excluding all the story elements like the voice acting and stuff. I definitely think the music holds up very well. But overall, it's an okay game. I would recommend it if you can get into the story. Apparently the story is pretty good for now. I'm invested enough in the characters for me to want to carry on through the game despite the repetitive nature of it. But apparently when you get to New Game Plus, the story just gets incredible, which is really weird, and it's kind of annoying that you have to wait that long, you know, to get to the really, really good parts of the story. But I don't know, maybe it makes sense in the story that you would have to wait that long, but that still doesn't necessarily excuse it. I never like it when people say, oh no, you just have to play for, you know, 8 to 10 hours to get to the good bits. Like, I could be playing a really good game in all of that time that gets into the good stuff right away, like tons of other games. But in this, it does get into some decent stuff. It's just not incredible, but it's enough to pull me in and make me want to get through to the New Game Pluses, which have new story elements, obviously, because that's when the story apparently gets really, really good. So I'm excited to get to that part. I will probably beat the base game this week, and then I will be doing New Game Plus, as well as another game, possibly Castlevania, either Super Castlevania 4 or possibly Symphony of the Night. I'm not sure which one, but that's what I'm thinking of at the moment. It could very well change, but yeah, that's the plan. So that and the New Game Plus. Also, I finally made a new article. It's about friggin' time. I kind of want to start doing these for each game I play every week. So I'll probably do one on NieR, giving my full detailed thoughts at the end of it. I don't really want to call them reviews because, you know, just kind of dashing through a game, not playing everything that it has to offer. I don't think reviews necessarily need to, you know, 100% every single game before they're valid. In some cases you can just complete them, but in a lot of the Ben Beats game stuff, just to get to the end of the game within the week, I, you know, skip quite a few side questy things that might be good but not amazing. So that's why I'd more just call it an impressions, a thoughts on approach to writing articles and such. I'm currently working on the Shadow of the Colossus one, but the one that's up right now that you can go read is my thoughts on Ico. What I thought of that after my 7 to 8 hour long play session, just getting all the way through that game. So considering I played it for that long and got all the way through it in one sitting, I think you can guess that for the most part they're pretty positive. But I try to be fair in it and critique some of the stuff that I didn't necessarily like, just, to kind of bring up some topics and opinions that I haven't seen thrown around too much, and people seem to really like it. I really do appreciate the feedback. I've got quite a lot of feedback. The people on Giant Bomb are very, very good. I'm even in the fucking community spotlight for the week. I think it's every week, but I just got a notification, and it was like, congrats to all these people, your articles will be in the community spotlight. And I'm like, holy shit, that's fantastic. It was really, really good. I'm very pleased about that, and it just makes me really happy that I am getting back into writing articles, because I really do love it. As I've said many times before, I wouldn't mind either getting into video production like this, or other stuff that I could work on in the future, and I might turn some of those articles into actual videos. Either video production or just writing reviews when I'm older. Sort of actual games journalism with a journalism degree would be nice, hey? You know, because a lot of games journalists don't really have a journalism degree. And not that I think it's necessarily necessary, but, because, like, I really respect people like Total Biscuit and stuff. He wouldn't even call himself a journalist, but I respect him more than most journalists, and he definitely doesn't have a degree. But I'm going off on various tangents now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the streams, the videos. I'll hopefully be working on some highlights. Link to the article will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.